graph now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So that's your running treadmill test, okay?
Okay.
And we're just going to break it down, but you can remember when we had the test, we told you that you were very good at burning fat. So
Yeah.
you were a good fat burning efficiency at low end, and that's because this light line here, that's your carbohydrate. So you're burning only a few grams of carbohydrate,
Yeah.
and most of it is the fat one, okay? And then you get your crossover happening later on, right? So that
Yeah.
was why we said to you to stay away from zone 2 when you're running. Like,
Okay.
we need you up at the higher end. Like, not, I don't mean to say stay away, but sorry, I'll take that back. But what I mean is, like, you can't be just doing zone 2, because then you're not addressing the actual limitations. Because
So just don't always do zone 2.
Exactly. It's important that you don't then try and do the opposite and just do hard runs, because you'll end up injuring yourself.
Yeah.
So you do still need that 80-20 principle, but uh, we need to take you up more into that kind of tempo and threshold area, right?
Yeah.
Now, I noticed something, and you see the way you got in your report, they didn't score you well for um, breathing, and that was because there's a bit of hyperventilation going on at the lower zones here.
Yeah.
So if you see that pink line, I'll get rid of this carbohydrate and fat, because we're happy with that. Like, you're flying there, right? So there's a pink line there. That's your breathing frequency,
Yeah.
and this is zone 2 down here, and you're breathing 33 breaths per minute.
Yeah.
When, like, the recommended kind of there's evidence around 22 to 26. So you're a little bit over. So what you might do when you're doing your next long run, just you could even just have a little metronome going on. How many breaths am I taking here? You get me?
Yeah.
You can
Concentrate my breathing a bit more.
just the amount of it, so that you're not going up here up into the 30s. Look.
Yeah.
It's just something I think might be a good idea, just to check in with, and see if you can bring it down a little bit, the frequency.
Yeah.
And then when you go working hard, everything kind of fits in with what we would expect. But just
Yeah.
down around zone 2, you're doing a little bit more than you need to.
Yeah.
And that can actually cause a fatiguing of the diaphragm, which could then lead to limitation.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it might be something to look at, right? And then the area where you start to where you should be really focusing on for your running is up here. Can you see this dark red line?
Yeah.
And how it just drops off? It never recovers, right?
Yeah.
And it drops off at a speed of 15.6 kilometers per hour. Now, you can find that out in what pace that is, but instead I'm just going to give you the heart rate. It's basically at a 164 heart rate.
Yeah.
So that's zone 2, if I'm right. Will I just pull up your report?
Yeah.
Uh, see here now. So 163 to 173, that's zone 4. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's bang on where you need to be, right? So zone
Yeah.
4 intervals, right? So zone 4 intervals, you might take this down. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna remind myself, because I'm just starting to kind of learn more about all this. So look, Anthony, you're thinking 30 to 90-second intervals. Um, and they should be like about 6 of them. And
Yeah.
you need a rest
So
of 30 seconds. I'd start with 30 seconds, because this is quite new, isn't it, for you, this type of.
Yeah.
Yeah, so start with 30, but eventually you'll be building them up to 90-second intervals. Okay?
Okay.
And you need a rest of 1-to-1 ratio. So if you do a 30-second interval, then you take a rest of 30 seconds.
Okay. So
But here's the interesting thing. the interval only starts when your heart rate gets up to 164.
Okay.
So you need to be on the watch and you need to start like you're obviously going to be running at the zone 2, that way. And then next thing
Yeah.
you'll say, right, I'm going to start my intervals now. And you'll do a 30-second hard, but only start your 30 seconds once you get up past 162, 160. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then
Once.
and then you do the 30 seconds, and then your rest only starts when you come back down into zone 1, which is 121 heart rate to 131. So the reason that's important is because that will allow you sufficient rest. It's not like 30 seconds immediately after
Yeah.
you. Yeah, yeah.
So
And
what is
then
it when the heart comes back down to what?
121 to 131. That's your zone 1, and zone 1 means recovery, and that's where you get that excess oxygen recovery, and then you're ready to go again.
So what was the heart rate there again? Sorry.
121 to 131, in around there.
131. Cool.
Um, and then you literally do it again. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to recommend you start with 6 of them,
Yeah.
and you're going to build up to 8 of them. But you only go up to 8 once you're doing 6 by 90-second intervals. You with me?
Yeah. And do I do? And you want me to do those runs during my long runs,
Um,
or do you want me to do them individually?
that's a good question. That's probably a separate run. This is a
Yeah.
separate run, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And this run might take you. It might actually take you longer initially because you might need more time to recover.
Yeah.
But as you get fitter, this session will take shorter. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah. 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 Because you get more used to it.
and you recover quicker, so you can go again.
Yeah.
But don't go until your heart rate recovers. And here's the other option for you. You can do a kind of a kind of a zone 3, zone 4 kind of in betweener, which is good as well. Okay, so it's basically 4 sets of 5-minute intervals, right?
Yeah.
And the heart rate will be the top of zone 3 and the bottom of zone 4. So you're looking at 160 to 166.
So 4 sets of 5-minute intervals.
Yeah.
Okay. And what is it?
You're going to go for a heart rate of 160 to 166, and that's basically the middle of zone 3 and zone 4. It's the crossover between those two zones. You get me?
160 to
66.
166. Yeah.
And I'd like you to do 5 minutes to start with, 4 of those, right?
Yeah.
And the recovery is half the effort. So if you did a 5-minute, then you're doing a 2.5-minute recovery.
Yeah.
All right. And you want to build up to 10 minutes intervals.
Yeah.
When you get to there, you can check in.
So you'd be better off than using on a running track, would you?
No, well look. Ideally, yeah, but it's up to you. I mean, yeah, traffic lights can get in the way. Traffic can get in the way. But
Yeah. Yeah. I can probably get access to a running track anyway.
yeah, but it's not essential.
Yeah.
And then I suppose with the zone 4 shorter intervals, like try and get your heart rate up into that 163 up to 173 even, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's going to really look after your high end kind of limitations, yeah?
Yeah.
And that'll really bring you on a lot in the running. Basically, what was I going to say to you? Yeah, maybe like those hard sessions, like one of those a week is plenty.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you could probably do, the 5-minute one. Maybe you might get away with 2 of those, but with the real hard, I'd say 1.
Yeah.
Other than that, your breathing volumes were strong. They took a little dip at the end, and we would have said to you that when you're going at that very high intensity, just try and keep the volume. You tended to just drop off on the volume, but
yeah,
kind of expect that when the
I think it was more so it was probably a little bit new to the test as well. I would think, when you have it done the first time, I think the second time you kind of know what's coming.
Yeah,
And
man, that's
I think you,
100%.
yeah, you know,
Yeah, like we'll obviously like 8 weeks time, 7 weeks time, we'll.
yeah,
So I'm gonna then switch over to your biking one, which is very different. Can you see this one now?
yeah,
So if I take away the I take actually breathing frequencies are similar again, right? So they're a little high in zone two, so just watch out for that as well. And then you see the way you're not as efficient at the low end. See the carb and the fat,
yeah,
and it crosses over much sooner. It crosses over at a 113 heart rate. So whereas with running it was up as far as 140.
yeah,
That makes sense. So you're more keen to burn carbohydrate on a bike.
yeah.
So this is why your bike training needs to be different. Okay. So we're
Agreed.
gonna keep you in
My,
those zone two.
my bike training needs to really improve, to be honest, and I need to be more consistent on the bike as well. I think,
Yeah. Like, are you getting as many bike? I don't see you putting up bike.
No, I'm not
Okay.
getting as many. I'm not getting as many bike sessions as I am running sessions.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I don't enjoy the bike as much as I do running.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
That's fair enough. Um, what about? Have you got a road bike on a turbo? Yeah.
yeah,
Like that'd be obviously a bit more comfy, But look, basically, what you need here, man, is at least a 1 hour session in zone two.
yeah,
Pretty simple. Like especially if you're on a turbo trainer, it's very easy because you can just dial in the heart rate uh to. Oh, I'll bring up that now again. It'll be different, right? It's this one here.
so how many of them a week would I want to be doing?
Uh you see, we gotta remember, like, yeah. What I suppose you have to kind of say to yourself, do I want to bring up my bike to a
Yeah,
higher level?
I do because I think that's where I need to improve in
Yeah,
the other one. You know what
fair
I mean?
enough.
Yeah,
Like exactly. What if you did your kind of? This is going to require long and lower intensity, so that will kind of cover that run if you were to substitute this bike for that, maybe. Or if you like your long run, fair enough. But what I'm saying is, you if you put the longer session into the bike, that would really pay back.
yeah. Well, look in the current situation we're in. I suppose there's time for everything.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like literally, there's nothing going on at the moment. So there's probably time for everything at the moment, really. If you schedule it correctly.
Well, here's your here's your zone two for the bike, which is very different to your running. Okay, you've
Yeah,
got 106 to 113. That's kind of where you want to be pedaling in.
yeah,
Kind of difficult to maintain that if you're out on the road, just with all the different hills and stops and starts.
yeah.
But if you're on a turbo,
It's possible.
it's very possible. Yeah, you'll be going easy, right? Now, here's the
Yeah,
thing about zone two. It's it's a brilliant idea to include sharp bursts of zone 5 within that session, and that's what we talked about, didn't we?
yeah,
So you can actually save that for the last half an or 20 minutes, or you can stick them in the middle of it, but space them out. Make
how
sure the
many
heart rate.
sharp bursts would you in that hour? How many sharp bursts would you think you want to be doing?
Good question. I think you're looking at only 4 or 5. You don't want to like pepper it with sharp bursts because that'll bring your overall heart rate up.
Yeah,
We want you to be down in zone two, which is where you're going to get those benefits that you need for long distance triathlon. Okay, so stick to 4 even to start with, and your average heart rate, right, for that session.
yeah,
Your average heart rate will probably go into zone three, which is more than 113.
yeah,
But as long as the majority of the time is spent between 106 to 113, then you're winning.
yeah,
You get me?
yeah,
And like that actually, what it does is it you make more capillaries and you make more mitochondria, and they'll all help your higher end stuff anyway.
yeah,
Yeah. So if I come back to this then you still seeing the graph, yeah?
Yeah.
For the bike, um, you kind of your downfall happens at 153 heart rate, so you'll be addressing that with the zone 5 intervals basically.
Yeah.
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 Don't worry about doing any zone 4 longer intervals right now on the bike. Just fucking long zone 2 with zone 5s. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. Uh, yeah. You just tend to. No, yeah. Your volumes again just drop off there in the high
Yeah.
end stuff. So there you go. That's cool. Okay. So then we'll move over to the RMR. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is all that clear anyway with the
It's
test?
clear enough. I've it all wrote down here, like, so I go over it now in a minute, and if I have any questions, I can always bang them back to you.
Yeah, and I'll send you a table that kind of it has a nice way of like doing up the zones and stuff
Yeah.
and the progressions that you need to work within those. Okay, so I'm down here now. I'll just share. Okay, so this should be your RMR now.
Yeah.
So uh you came back with a resting metabolic rate of 2,400, which means your body requires 2,400 calories just to survive, okay? Like just to maintain existence, okay? Then it adds on the 600 because that's what you typically, walk around the day, eat some the actual
Yeah.
energy that you spend when you eat food. So that's why they bring it up to 3,000.
Yeah.
And can you see down there?
Yeah.
That's basically it, 3,000 calories, right? But
The days
because
you don't
weight,
work out.
that's if you don't work out, right? We'll get to that workout bit in a second. But what I want to get across is that your goal here at the moment is some weight loss. So
Yeah.
a nice way and a very effective and healthy way of doing it is just to drop 500 calories a day.
Yeah.
So there you go, 2,500.
Yeah.
Now that's on the days that you don't train. But I would actually say that that's also on the same day that you do a zone 2 bike, because you don't need to really fuel up extra for that type of.
Yeah.
You with me?
Yeah.
So when you're going to doing those heavy running, they're a bit more intense. Then obviously you can add.
Yeah. A few more calories, like.
Yeah, and I don't think you're going to go wrong. They're making a prediction here, right? That if you did a 45-minute training session at moderate intensity, it would cost you 700 calories. That's not a very accurate uh, prediction. They just throw that in.
Yeah.
You could potentially look at it yourself. I'm sure you've got ways of looking how many calories have I burnt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you could kind of do the maths, but all I'd say is stick to 2.5 with the zone 2 and the kind of lower intensity sessions.
Perfect.
Um, it's saying you're a very fast metabolism, like that's class. That means you've got like a good muscle mass, lean muscle mass, which is going to help your metabolism.
Yeah.
Um, we keep an eye on this. That you see the way you're restricting calories. If you're restricting calories, metabolism can slow down, but not if you restrict only 500 calories. So yeah, cool, man. If you want to if you were to drop calories massively, say you were to drop down to 1,500, what could happen is your
Yeah.
metabolism could slow down, and then that wouldn't be a good
Yeah.
idea. So we can
You
keep an
burn
eye.
anything. Yeah. You just crash.
Yeah, and then this ratio is telling us that to be honest, if you're into if long distance is your thing, right? We kind of want to flip. We want to flip this ratio around,
Yeah.
because for more endurance athletes, they want to be better at burning fats at rest.
Yeah.
Because this is what you're doing at rest. It's 40% fat, 60% carbs.
Yeah.
Because you came in fasted, you know. So So we can see what that does in 8 weeks' time. Hopefully
Yeah.
the cycling zone 2 will start to help that. Um, did that answer the? Did that
Yeah.
answer? Did that answer your questions around this?
Yeah.
Cool. And what like you did a long run there, didn't you, at the weekend?
Yeah.
And I think did I see it was like around a 450 minute average, eh, or something like that.
Yeah. Before it can, do you know, it can vary really, and in the mood really, you know.
Yeah.
It can go from kind of, we say, like 435, and we say if I'm feeling good, you know, it kind of goes up to 450. I never really go over 450 though, you know.
Yeah,
I'm,
interesting. Yeah.
I'm always in and about that.
Yeah. So yeah, you're definitely not going slow, which is good because you don't want to be for the running.
Yeah.
Sorry, can I pull it back a bit there, right?
Yeah.
With this 2,500 calories now, we can kind of break that down into macros and look at what you should be doing there, right? So if we said your yeah, say like for protein, 1.5 grams per kilo, right? What's your 93, isn't it? Your
Yeah.
kilos.
Yeah.
So that's 140 grams of protein, and then you multiply that by 4. That's 560 calories, right? So
Yeah.
if your fat intake was at 30%, that would be 750 plus 560 equals 1120, and that would leave you. Uh, yeah, you see that your fat would probably. Sorry, I'm just doing the maths here, but
Yeah.
uh, yeah, that would leave a lot of carbs, 340, but we don't want that much.
Yeah.
So you'd have to then look at at least you're definitely wanting to get the that amount of protein in, aren't you?
Yeah.
Are you okay with this sort of area?
Yeah.
The macro, yeah.
Yeah. Not bad.
Yeah. Just with weight loss as the goal, I would say no harm like in increasing protein, fat, and maybe dropping down a little on the carbohydrate on the days that you're
Yeah.
not training hard.
Yeah.
If you want me to kind of draw up an idea there, I will, but if you're happy to manage that yourself, let me know.
Yeah. I do a fair idea anyway myself, you know.
Yeah.
And like even the plan I'm on at the moment is, I'll tell you exactly, you know what calories I'm on. I'm currently on 2,400.
Yeah.
I'm not far off it, you know.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. And would you have the macros?
Macros, I don't.
Yeah. See, I'm just thinking here, if you went 40% fat, 20 uh 25% protein, and then the rest carb.
Okay, I'll tell you what I have now here in this plan that I have here. Actually, sorry, I do have it broke down. One second now. I have 200. I have
200 grams of carbs.
308 grams of carbs,
Yeah.
48 fats, and 176 protein.
Yeah, so you're on 1,200 calories with, you said 300 grams of carb, wasn't it?
300 carbs,
And then you
48,
have
48 fats, and 176 protein, and the calories is 2,372.
yeah, I'd say 30 divide that by 2.5. Yeah, you see you're taking in 48% carbohydrate there, right? I'd be
Yeah,
thinking just drop that off a little bit.
yeah,
Certainly on the days that you're not doing heavy sessions,
yeah,
because you don't need that that much. I think you could come down to 35%. So you'd be thinking like uh 2,500 multiplied by 0.35.
I have it down to, sorry, Dano, I on my lower days I have it down to 2057,
Oh, lovely. Yeah, that makes
right?
sense. That makes
So
sense.
I have it down to 213 carbs. I have it down to 58 fats and 171 protein.
Yeah, that do you know what? That's actually bang on 35% carb there with
Yeah.
the one you just said there. So yeah, that's how I'd suggest it. Do you think that's working for you?
Yeah, it has been like,
Okay.
it's been coming, the weight's been coming down, the body's been changing dramatically. Um, I do some days, some weeks I do get stuck where I could be stuck at the same weight for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, but
Yeah.
then I drop again, like, you know what I mean?
That
Uh,
listen, that's kind of normal.
yeah, so it's happening. But it's just taking its time. But my body, I can see the change in my body by the week.
Excellent. Yeah. No, you seem to be fine there.
Yeah,
Maybe you might be a bit too hard on yourself with those low fat numbers. There's
yeah,
no harm uh, if the fat goes up and the
yeah,
protein goes up and the carb comes down.
yeah,
All right, that's cool. I think we've covered it all.
yeah,
You happy?
yeah. I'm very happy. Really, really enjoy the process. Like, you know what I mean, so far. And to be honest with it, I'm looking forward to going again to see where we're at. Like,
Yeah. People get too keen, like they want to come in as soon as, but like put use this time now and really hit
like, yeah,
those points that you're kind of dropping off on, and you should
yeah, yeah. Perfect.
get on
Well,
to me if you have any questions.
of course, bye. Not a matter. Thanks a million.
Last, yeah, take it easy.
Thanks, John. Thank you.
Bye, 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 mate.